Okay, good afternoon everyone. It is the 21st of March 2019. It is quite grey outside, but quite warm as well. So there's the weather, and that's always a good thing to talk about the weather when you talk about networking, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to give you some thoughts about life after university. Okay, so my name is Marc Steward. I'm one of the career consultants here. So I work in the business school and earth and environment. And these are some of my musings based on my own experience and those of students and alumni who have been here previously. Okay, so my first sort of musing is regards when you leave. So there often is the case that a lot of students will leave on graduation and they've been here 3 or 4 years and they look back and they think, oh, if only I'd done this, or if only I'd joined this society and club. And, you know, hindsight is a wonderful thing. And the grass is always greener, etc. But we can't worry too much about that. And it's best not to worry about things you haven't done, but think about things that you have done and things that are positive. And the reason being is if you worry about things you haven't done, it's an obstacle, and that will always play on your mind when you look at jobs in the future or applications or interviews or when you meet people. So what you want to do is concentrate on what you have done, concentrate on things you have enjoyed. So it may be a club or a society you've been part of, it might be friends you've made. It's always good just to concentrate on the positive things and obviously then think about what you can do next. Okay, the second thing is about understanding yourself. And to be honest, this is something that, you know, I talk to all the students about, whether they're current or even looking at alumni, and a lot of it is basically understanding what you have and why it relates to employers. So the first thing is, it's always important to reflect on everything you've done. So obviously you'll have a CV, or hopefully you'll have a CV, and that CV carries us through life. So whilst a lot of people say, why do I bother with a CV? You know, most jobs now are applications, or it might be through networking. You know, a CV carries you through life. You have it throughout, you update it throughout, and it's a bit like if you sort of if you make curries, for example. Okay, you have the basic stock that you add to a curry, you always add to it, and that's how it works. So every time you do an experience, you add to that CV. If you don't cook, then that's a poor analogy, but hopefully you'll understand what I mean. So obviously future job applications, interviews, interaction with potential employers, and confidence in yourselves, you know, requires you to reflect on what you do, because they're going to be interested in obviously that. Think about the good things you've done and obviously how they impress employers. No employer wants to hear about negative things. They want to meet positive people. I do believe everyone has done something positive in their life. So even if you don't have something that's directly relevant to the sector you want to work in, you know, especially in the UK, employers are very keen on transferable skills, and that can come from a number of things. But you may have to be creative to sell those experiences. So, you know, any students that I've spoken to or have come to any of my workshops, you know, I've used a lot of ex-students of mine who have been clowns or butchers or skiers or poets, and that's something that's got them an interview in a job that has got nothing to do with being a butcher, a clown, a skier, or a poet. It's about the transferable nature of that. So you have to be creative when you think about these things. And obviously remember to update the CV as well as the LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is very important. It's not just for business students, it's for all students. It is very beneficial, okay? And that's not just as a student, but that's in your professional life as well. But don't be like Ron Burgundy, which is what this gift's about. Don't talk yourself up when you don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, don't lie. Talk about yourself, but be positive when you do so. Okay, so the next slide is about stepping stones. So again, this is about managing expectations. So don't worry if your first job after graduation isn't your dream job. I mean, you know, there are a lot of people don't get their dream job immediately, whatever their circumstance. And a lot of people now work in more than one job to get where they want to be. So there are lots of statistics about students and the generation Y, Generation Z, whatever generation we're in at the minute, whatever that label is. I'm not a great lover of labels, but whatever it is, going to change jobs a lot during their career. And I think, to be honest, I've changed jobs a lot in my career, and, you know, ultimately I've got to where I want to be, but I had to work in schools as a careers advisor and colleges in the careers advisor and young offenders units, etc., to get where I wanted to be. And that's life. I knew that was going to happen. So, you know, you may have to use stepping stones. You may not have an idea about what you want to do, and to be honest, you know, jobs are created every day. You know, technology is such that there will be jobs created every day, and obviously we teach first years here, and I'll say to my first years, we might have space tourism by the time you graduate, and we don't have that yet, but it's looking likely. So jobs are created every day, and I was sitting in the gym the other day, and I saw they had the world's strongest man on, which is what this gift's about, and I was just looking at the fella lifting stones and trailing a Jeep with his teeth. And I was thinking, when did that bloke realise he wanted to actually, pull a Jeep with his teeth? Was it in school? And he sat there with his careers advisor and said, "You know what, sir, I really want to pull a Jeep with my teeth." And I was thinking, there's not a chance he was doing it then. So, ideas come. It might not be when you graduate, it might be a year after, but they do graduate. But the one thing I would say is be positive on all the job roles, contribute and reflect and record on all the experiences you have. If a job's worth doing, it is worth doing well, and I do believe in that. So, it's important to be positive in whatever you do. Okay, so the other thing it's a big thing for me is basically what's happening at the minute. And as I said, the world of work is changing rapidly, and I'm a big one for commercial awareness. It's something that you may have heard about, you might not know what it is. It's very important to employers. It's a bit of a bugbear of mine, and it's basically understanding what's going on out there in the news and the big wide world, and how it affects sort of not just the world of work, but how it affects you personally. And I think it's important to take an interest in what's going on in the world, and that's to help you in the job that you are going to be doing, you're currently in, if you're listening to this later on after graduation, or even take the lead in securing the job you want. It does help if you know what's happening out there. So if you apply, for example, if Toys R Us were currently still running, but we're on the brink of extinction, as they are, you wouldn't be applying for a job there, but you wouldn't know that if you weren't understanding and reading the news and you didn't understand that it was actually on the brink of extinction. So you need to know what's happening in order to think about, well, where do I want to go next? And it is key to be curious. It's key to ask questions, do your research, be creative, be proactive. You have to make things happen. And I've mentioned that enterprise is key, and a lot of the employers now and a lot of the sectors are talking about the fact that enterprise and entrepreneurialism is a key skill now, and it's very important that employees, as well as people who want to set up their own startups, have those sorts of things. So it's very important to be curious, take an interest in things. Okay, ultimately though, the last slide is obviously it's about being happy. It's important to be happy. The happier you are, the more you will enjoy your work, and obviously the more you enjoy stuff outside of work, it keeps you motivated. And the happier you are, the better you are at whatever you do. And this obviously helps professionally, but also personally. Obviously, if you enjoy your work, then personally you're going to enjoy your life, and that does help. That said, while life may not be perfect, and you might be sitting there thinking, yeah, this is all great, but life isn't perfect, and I've been rejected from this or whatever. And I appreciate it's not perfect, but then failure is a part of life. And I know that's a tricky one, and I understand that's a very hard one, especially in this sort of social media world we have, where everyone's quick to sort of criticize. And it's easy to say sort of ignore those sorts of things, especially anonymous sort of comments about things. But, it is about learning from failure or rejection. Everyone is rejected. I'm a career consultant. It's not like I've nailed every interview. But if I haven't, I want to know why, and I'll work on that, and it's about developing. So, failure, rejection is a part of life, but failing to try, that's a different matter. If you're not trying, then that is a different matter, and you can't expect results if that's the case. So it's about, if these things happen, take time out, think, plan, reflect, clear your head, listen to some music. Some of you who are into music might notice that all the headings from my slides are actually titles of songs. You might not get the Stepping Stone one, as most of my colleagues didn't get. But anyway, there's a listing next. So just, take time out, think about it, think about something that's good, and then try again. Understand what worked for you, work hard, ask for help. And if you work hard and you ask for help and you're curious, the rewards will come. Okay, so as I said, good luck with all this. These are the song titles and the bands. I'd hope at least a couple of them are going to resonate with you. There's some quality ones on there, so please have a look. And as usual, I'll say that obviously the career service is here to help you. You can still use the career service on graduation. We are here to help, and we will have other workshops going on over the summer as well of 2019 if you want to engage that way. But good luck.